Hello and welcome tech and game enthusiasts. It's been a long while for this one coming. I did this video footage about a month ago. Pretty screwed up my computer in the process, especially Riva Tuner. It does not like you rolling back drivers all the time and switching back and forth. So if you are having issues with Riva Tuner, I would say completely reinstall Afterburner. It will keep your settings, so that's a bright side. But yeah, it does not like being screwed with. I did have to do this a few times because I had to set some sort of baseline when I was doing it. I had to faff on with lots of BIOS settings and stuff like that just to get a precise reading out, and I had just moved GPUs. I moved from the 1070 to the 1080, and I had all sorts of issues. So my main advice there being would be to clear your download cache in Steam, because I had the strangest issues you would not believe, like everything from weird controller inputs to weird artifacting, weird performance levels, such like. Yeah, I was talking about the calibration of my PC, so a lot of settings within BIOS. I think one of the most useful settings I think you could do is power control via the motherboard for the PCIe. That did normalize things a lot more and gave more balance to how my GPU was performing. It's not a one that people usually mention. It also saves power as well. Saves about 30 watts on my card, but yeah, just means it runs cooler and quieter. So at this point, some people are going to be doubting my purchase choices, going from the 1070 to the 1080. But yeah, if that's the thing, when you wait for the latest flagship to come out, the outgoing flagship is much more affordable. It was 100 quid for me to upgrade, which was basically me reinvesting money into my PC. So this money that I reinvested was from the RAM that I sold. I sold 16 gigabytes of DDR3. Yeah, I upgraded to 32 gigabytes a long time ago. I got a great deal on it, £65 or something like that. And then I sold it off for about £100 recently. Basically, I bought the extra RAM because I wanted to make a RAM disk, and Windows 10 did not like this and kept dumping copious amounts of dump data into my SSD, which I did not like at all. So yeah, I basically used the £100 that I got back from selling the RAM to upgrade my GPU. So my best guess at this point is that some people watching this video are going to be like, well, going from a 1070 to a 1080 is not that much of a difference. Well, I would seriously beg to differ. Yeah, you are going to notice a difference massively. There are a few games that a 1080 cannot play. Obviously, the 1070 is like a 980 Ti, and when you think about that, the 1080 is basically like two 980s in SLI, and you get this, you get a ballpark figure. Yeah, it does perform extremely well. The only thing that I found pushes beyond it is Mirror's Edge Catalyst, which can drop down to like 45 FPS on hyper. Remember, this is hyper, not ultra. So obviously I've mentioned a bit about my build path there. I'm not planning on upgrading GPU. Haswell refresh doesn't sound that exciting. Maybe wait until Volta, but then I'll need a new motherboard. Yeah, speaking of motherboards, CPU wise, I don't think I'll be upgrading. Optane memory does sound great. It's basically turning most of your drives into an SSHD via the Optane memory. And if you know anything about me, then I love my SSHD technology. It is tempting, but I'm very happy with the performance of my current CPU. And it doesn't really make financial sense to upgrade. So one thing that I have ordered recently is a Steam controller, and I'll see how that goes. I also ordered the Steam Link, so I can play my PC from the living room. We will see how that goes. But other than that, the only thing that I have on the horizon, I would think, is a monitor. And one of these higher refresh rate monitors, the 4K variety. I am not particularly bothered about G-Sync, and I am not particularly bothered about the highest refresh rate out there. I am more bothered about stuff like quantum dot. I really want something like a quantum dot or an IPS panel. Yeah, even if it was 100 hertz and quantum dot, then that would be perfect for me. But yeah, obviously having that extra refresh rate for older games is awesome. You can really beast games and react well to situations. So yeah, as I say, I'm not hugely bothered about G-Sync or FreeSync because I'm pretty happy with fast sync in the games that it works with. So having the extra refresh rate would be great though. So ideally I would be looking for something like that's 120 hertz and quantum dot, so I can benefit in older games from the extra higher refresh rate and obviously lower spec games. On the other side, a proper color gamut and replication, so maybe looking for a HDR panel and just looking for less blue light because it really screws with your sleep pattern. And I don't want to wreck what is left of my eye quality. And I just overall don't want to feel as tired as I do sitting in front of a screen for copious amounts of time. So anyway, I am going to try and do more streams, possibly from my PC. I can't stream from the Xbox to YouTube, so I probably won't be using Beam. I don't know if I'll get into it, probably not. And I will try to make more videos like this when I have the ideas, but I am in full-time work now, so my days are limited, as it were. And it doesn't help that I work in an environment which is very dusty and makes me sound like I have the flu sometimes, which is not ideal for recording and whatnot. But thankfully it'll give me the money I need to invest in stuff like video editing software whenever it's on offer again. Yeah, I'm still a cheapskate. To be honest, I was slightly tempted to get the faster memory module version of the 1080, but I looked at the performance results and yeah, it's really not worth the upgrade in terms of performance versus price. So just before we talk about the results here, I'm just going to outline extremely briefly, and I mean, I'm not going to give too much away as to what videos will be coming up. I already mentioned there that I will be doing live streams from my PC now. I will be revisiting a lot of the games on my 1080, which I did optimization videos for on my 1070. Yes, I'm still playing a lot of them games. I have such a back catalogue. So there is a few games that I will be adding to the mix. I do have Saints Row 4, which I never actually released any footage on, the 1070. But I do have some interesting performance metrics to display from that. So I also thought it was worth mentioning that I will be recording and streaming in 1080p. I still think it makes a hell of a job on downsampling 4K, and obviously it has a lesser impact on performance, so you can get more of a grip on what my actual performance is and what mileage you will get. Yeah, also it's easier to edit. It's not like I'm running out of space, but yeah, it just saves time overall. And the way that YouTube is, it's not really true 4K when you're getting 4K, but I get it, I totally get it. I watch 4K content on there, but not everybody has the bandwidth to do that. So just before we go into the results here, I will mention how disappointed I am by the TimeSpy upgrade. It doesn't really pop out the results that you think it will. Well, not on an NVIDIA card. I think it's more optimized for the AMD variant. I did hear on a Steam forum that it only has like one line of code from DX12, if you can believe that. But yeah, there isn't really a difference here in this update, but I did include it anyway. So in this update, basically what we see is a massive shift from single-threaded performance to the multi-threaded, i.e. synchronous to asynchronous. So sacrificing single-threaded performance might seem bad here to some people, but any games where you use single-threaded performance or applications, you're not really going to need that extra performance anyway, so it won't be missed. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please like, please subscribe, and do keep watching. Thank you.